Well, I guess I decided to start my Left of Left series with outrage culture. The worst kind of culture. And here's why. Outrage culture. To explain outrage culture, I'm afraid I have to go back pretty far. But only as far as the invention of television and the birth of televised sponsors and advertising. So I guess we're actually starting with advertising. Advertising has been long synonymous with lying. It wasn't until later on that it underwent a sort of public image revitalization. If you've never heard of the term snake oil salesman, the term refers to an individual who used to travel from town to town selling their tonic. They would make the most outrageous claims about the medicinal properties of their drink, just to sell as much of it as they could, and then leave town as soon as possible. As a small side note, it wasn't until 1914 that the FTC was established to protect the consumer, and real laws regulating advertising went into effect. So, you might want to consider advertisers and marketers to be professional liars that know the full legal extent of each and every one of their lies, and will exploit every single loophole possible to get you to buy the product that they're selling. And since there is already plenty of movies, books, and documentaries written on the subject of advertising, I'm not going too far into the subject today. Television gave advertisers a direct in to your living room. That is what revolutionized television. Anyone that wanted you to buy their product knew to just advertise on TV. Now, let's just skip to where things got interesting. The 90s. Something strange and unusual started to occur. This strange internet started to appear in people's homes. And it didn't take long for the internet to establish itself. It didn't take long for advertisers to realize the potential of this new avenue. Soon, entire economies got established around the ad revenue. But while the internet was experiencing its new boom, the advertisers' old stomping ground was starting to lose traction. The newspaper became more and more obsolete. And as everyone was starting to get their news from blogs and websites, around the same time, television was starting to lose its viewership. And the lower the viewership, the less you can charge for ad time. And the lower the viewership, the less revenue from the advertisers. And this revenue is the only thing keeping these mediums profitable. But we all know that we all adapt. And adapt they did. Now, we've all heard television people tell us to stay tuned for a message from our sponsors. Well, at least most of us have. But when did they stop saying commercials and start saying sponsors? Google defines sponsor as a person or organization that provides funds for a project or activity carried out by another. Now, if a particular company provides the money for the news to even exist, can the news really be impartial when reporting upon the activities of that one company? I personally don't think so. In an attempt to survive, television newspapers created affiliate websites and blogs to keep up with the ever-changing demands of media consumption. Fox, MSNBC, ABC, BBC, The Washington Post, The Star, and all others of the sort, all became accessible through the web. But it was too late. The advertisers found the perfect place to find the perfect demographic for any product they wanted. And even then, all the mainstream outlets still had trouble finding a way to compete with the modern day blogs that were getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hits a day. And so once again, they adapted. They started to accept blogs and social media into the mix to keep up. They started to accept Wikipedia as a source and even legitimized Twitter as one as well. And even started to use YouTube footage on TV, just to keep up with the fast-paced world. While all this was going on, we were growing up. We are the Gen Xers, we are the early millennials. We grew up with cell phones, the internet, we grew up with grunge music and metal, we grew up with rap, and we grew up with reality television shows. MTV started a trend when they started moving away from music videos and into reality television shows. The Real World, for example, showed people acting out just to boost viewership. That lesson was learned quickly. We had Marilyn Manson and Rammstein pushing the limit one way, trying to shock the world, and Madonna and Tattoo pushing the world in another. We lived through Michael Jackson's child sex scandal, R. Kelly pissing on a 16-year-old girl. We saw Janet Jackson's tits on live television, and the world freak out about Y2K. We saw CKY, which became Jackass, rise at the skate stores and into the mainstream. Kurt Cobain died, and life went on. But life went on with Jerry Springer, with Howard Stern. We grew up watching nip slips and bloody bodies on WWF, saw MMA go mainstream, and Simon Cowell telling every person he came across that they're a piece of shit, which seems to have inspired Gordon Ramsay to tell everyone that they're shit too. We saw Fight Club say what we felt. We saw the World Trade Center collapse. We grew up not understanding what's going on. The two girls from Tattoo made a living off of lesbian kissing, and Madonna and Britney soon followed. We watched the world cry out about global warming and doom, but nothing happened. The world was getting louder, and we were told to get louder with it. And there's one thing we knew how to do. We knew how to be sarcastic. And I don't mean just a little sarcastic. I mean, we redefined the term.
Are you being sarcastic, dude?
I don't even know anymore.
We were callous and angry at our government, society, school, our jobs, our banks, authority, and especially our parents. We were so hard to focus on anything, and so jaded. After 9/11, the 24-hour news cycle didn't know what to do with itself. It hasn't seen numbers or profits this high in years. People cared and paid attention again, and they had to continue it. There would no longer be a slow news day. Everything became awful. Everything became newsworthy. Anything that would grab attention. 9/11 and the war in Iraq took up the better half of the 2000s, but interest shifted away. People started to question the war and the events of 9/11 itself. By the 2010s, it was already too late. The shock culture took a foothold with hipsters. Now the same millennials and Gen Xers, but now with tech jobs, who don't care about TV, have taken root in society. They are everything the marketers could have hated. Hipsters are the internet's children. They do not believe in borders nor social norms. They dress as they please and listen to music that is yet to be discovered. They are rooted in obscure culture and pick and choose what they like, and they're driven by nostalgia. They do not belong to any preconceived demographics their marketers have developed, because they grew up on social media. On and with YouTube, Facebook, MySpace, which allowed us to pick and choose our own social destiny. They found and created unregulated musical markets, and dressed based on taste that fashion designers have left behind 20 years hence. There's no way for a company to market to people that want things from a time that is long gone. They love discontinued things from their childhood, things long forgotten, things lost. But we will always find a way. Today, most of us are impossible to advertise to. We have ad blockers, we can skip commercials on TV, we stream, and we are always looking down at our phones. The old numbers that marketers use for demographic categorization no longer apply. Facebook sells their information to marketing companies, and the advertisers don't know what to do with it. So, they stick to what they know. They nostalgia bait and hope you go see the Transformers movie, or the new Ninja Turtles movie, or the Karate Kid, or whatever garbage they're trying to get you to throw your money at. And it's still not working. But they still keep trying. How many covers are there of old songs? How many remakes have they made? How many times have they tried to bring back something nostalgic this year? But still, some have found a way. There are 3 things that work on the internet: clickbait, outrage, and feel-good videos. So here we are. This all brings us right back to today. This is why Dove releases feminist inspirational videos, and why H&M is redefining what it means to be a woman. This is why Black Lives Matter starts protesting the death of black people at the hands of cops. The news media focuses on the subject while ignoring the rest. This is also why channels like the Young Turks lie about individuals and have no problem. The lie causes outrage, and the fact that they lied causes even more. This is why everyone sensationalizes their side and spins it right or left. And they have started spinning it harder than I've seen in a while. This is why fact-checking has gone out the window, and why so often the news media has been caught lying. There's no time to check sources or even make real retractions. They need to keep up with social media, where we spread the news. As a side note, another video will be made about the media in the near future, and how for some reason, people forgot that they lied to you. So, here we are, in a sea of social commentary. Most of us yelling about one side or another. But the outrage is how we now get attention. Everyone needs to be preposterous. Everyone needs to cry about the end of the world. Everyone needs to talk about how oppressed they are, and why you should be outraged about it. This is what it takes now. You start your channel with, everyone is sexist and homophobic. Just as a blanket statement. Why you call your movement Black Lives Matter. Why you need nude feminists out in the street asking people to feel them up. Or watch them lay eggs. Or even knit with. Well, let's not advertise that too much.
Hope you guys liked our first Left of Left episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, pretty please. But most importantly, let us know what you think in the comments. If you agree, especially if you disagree, let us know why, and if there's anything else you want us to talk about.